What is going on, guys? Joey here, and I'm here with Big Dev and Mikey. Say what's up, fellas.
What's up,
What's up,
YouTube?
y'all?
There you go. There we go. I always have you guys both do it at the same time. I need to learn to do one at a time. So today we're just gonna go through Dev's championship performance at this last nationals. What is particularly special about this performance to me, I'm sure Mikey feels similarly, is that Dev has been with us for Dev. How long have you been working with Mikey?
I think 2019 is when I started, so about 4 years now.
4 years now, and I mean we're getting to that point where we have a bunch of guys who have been with us for a while, and they're starting to reach that top level, and they're bringing home these gold medals. At this meet, we had Ken and you, who Kevin was with me since 2018. You've been with Mikey since 2019, and to like get it done, I mean, we have many examples of that. Jesus, Russ, Keiko, da 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 da. It means so much as a coach and just teammate, whatever, like seeing someone grow throughout the years and and earn that level. You know what I mean? It's just, it wasn't like you came out of nowhere and you were just like this random dude who was like stupidly strong out the gate. You had to like fight, scratch, and really just earn it. And to me, that's like, and it was contested. It was a heavily contested medal too. It wasn't just like, you know, it wasn't just like there was nobody in your class and you just cherry picked a win. You know what I mean? It was a very, entertaining, like solid meet. And for me, being a bigger, like I'm a, the weights you're lifting are like similar to weights that I would lift, not bench and not deadlift, but like I'm in that with squat, I'm in that range. And so for me, it was like very entertaining for me to watch this meet. Um, Mikey, is there anything about Dev's prep, any obstacles that you guys had to sort of overcome, or anything that maybe like a month out, 2 months out, 3 months out, whatever, that in the back of your mind you were like, all right, this is we got to be careful of this. I'm gonna have to make some modifications to his program. um and was there anything about his program that was like very typical, or was his program like sort of heavily modified to get it around anything?
Yeah, so the for the most part, it was like pretty much the same thing we do because like our off season is very similar to our in season, right? Like we're still pretty specific. We're still doing top sets. So all of that was the same. He did have a flare up. I don't know if it was like 12-ish weeks, maybe like 9 to 12 weeks out, with his knee, with like the quad tendon or knee tendonitis, and that's always been something that we kind of have to work around. But we have some things in place that we go to, right? So instead of RPE, we start basically picking weights off a pain scale.
Yeah.
So just I basically want him to have pain under a 3 out of 10. So I'll give him an RPE target, but then I'll also just put that pain scale next to it. So it's like, okay, if you're working up to this RPE, but it starts hurting before, then we just cut it there.
Okay.
So we pretty much did that for a few weeks, basically just managing loads, right? Like he's just pulling back in the weight for a few weeks until it kind of cleared up. I know he went to go see somebody. He could tell you about that. I know he went to go see like a rehab guy. But yeah, on my side, it was just adjusting um, to that pain scale. And then those last couple blocks, a lot of times, sometimes I'll push people a little bit harder if I think I can get more out of them, like going into a meet. But those last couple blocks, I was really just like, let's just do enough basically to get you to where we know your strength is at, like where your potential is. But obviously not too much to where your knees hurting. So just kind of finding that balance.
And so is his knees, was it like similar to your knee? Was it the front of the knee, side of the knee? Same thing that I dealt with back in 2019. What was it?
You could talk on that,
Yeah,
Dev.
Dev, was it the
Exactly
same
where it
Yeah,
issue
was.
from back then?
yeah. So it's been the same problem since like damn near since we started. It's just like my patellar tendon that goes right over my kneecap and connects to is that your tibia down there?
Shin,
I don't know.
yeah, tibia.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
mean,
It just hurts bad right there.
if you look at like the way you're structured, um, I mean, it makes sense. And like the people's bodies, the way where their tendons and ligaments attach, their muscles attach, like powerlifting, like not everyone is gonna be able to like perfectly be built for every lift, right? So when you're training a lift consistently and you're really starting to build up, I mean, it makes sense that some areas may give you problems. You know, for me, it was always my back. I have a super long torso, very short arms. My lower back is just like not, it's very mobile, right? So when I conventional deadlift, I'm gonna have problems there. If you are built in such a way that, you know, you're gonna stress the tibias, um, you know, it could flare up. So it makes sense. But you guys have been managing it. You know, you put up a really solid squat. And I wanted to ask you guys, Mikey, you mentioned to me before this that Dev's progression was like you feel like he has a lot more progression in him given the way he was progressing coming into the meet. Could you just expand a little bit more on what you meant by that?
Yeah, so it's not even like the way he was progressing coming into the meet. I feel like Della's progressed really well like these last, I would say like the last 4 or 5 months when we came into this 800 plus range. But for squat and bench, we kind of were already at the strength level. But again, it was more just like we had to deal with the tendonitis, especially on squat. I know if we can find a way to push his legs a little bit more specifically, not necessarily the squat pattern, but just push his legs a little bit more, I know we can get more out of his squat. It's
With
just been
like,
that battle, right? Of like pushing a little bit and then he experiences pain. So we just got to find that balance, figure out what movements maybe don't cause any pain, and then just build it up that way. But that's really more where I'm talking about it's mostly on the squat. Like I think he has a lot of room to grow on the squat.
I think, like, just looking at his squat stance right here, using a stance similar to this on like a leg press, um, where he can really hit his adductors, his glutes, his hamstrings, maybe with flat feet. Um, just getting more volume in that way. It's with your feet angled up high. It probably won't stress the knee too much. You train at Steve's gym, and I believe Steve has a good amount of machines over there, um,
Yep.
to like help with stuff like that. So that could be something that, you know, Mikey puts in the future. But yeah, I totally get that. And then in
Yeah,
terms of
we've been doing that one already.
um, how durable are you on bench? Are you pretty
So
like
we
bulletproof
had a
or?
small like pec strain at the Arnold prep in March, so I ended up moving out to max grip, and that seemed to fix things. I've actually moved back in a finger. I just feel a little stronger there.
Yeah,
But I mean, chest is healthy, and we have the
yeah,
cheat code to move back to max if I need to. But
yeah.
yeah, we can push bench pretty hard coming up here.
Very good. All right. I guess I'll get into the squat. Dev, while we go through this squat, just kind of let us know what you felt coming into squats. Were you feeling good? Did you have to cut any weight? And, you know, what was your overall like confidence level like coming into this opener?
Yeah, so I woke up at like 271 this morning, so I had no worry about making weight.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually trying to get food in, which was kind of tough, just nerves and meet day excitement. Didn't allow me to eat too much, but I got some liquid calories in. But in terms of like pressure, I didn't really have any. Uh, Unfortunately, the guy I had to beat was Caleb Slaughter. If I beat him, then I podiumed and got a pro card, which is the main goal here. But we were expecting to total higher than him on roughly openers, so pretty low pressure. And then
Mm-hmm.
the goal was just to do what I do, hopefully be 6 for 6 going into deadlifts, and take a look at if we could do better than third. But I mean, squats were no stress by any means.
And the knee was not bugging you on this opener, correct?
Correct. So we had maybe 2 to 3 weeks of pain-free training towards the end of prep,
Excellent.
and then warm-ups felt good. Really, no problems here. This squat felt effortless as opener.
Have you ever tried squatting in the SPD belt?
I have not because I can't get my hands on one because they're always sold out.
Mikey, that could be an easy. I'm gonna be honest. When I put the SPD belt on, I put like 25 pounds on my squat because it's thick. It's 13, right? 13 millimeters, whatever. But you could lap it over in the front, so it's even more.
Oh yeah.
And it just, I mean, not too much, but just enough to where like you just feel, you feel so stable and you feel the power from your hips going into the bar, just like so much more. So, I mean, that's more pounds right there. Like I'm pretty confident that like if you do end up going 120 with the SPD belt, you're probably just already like ahead of where you are, right now. So is this your second attempt? Wait, this one
This is the opener. This is
opener
second right here.
second right here. Okay, and what was the weight? Do you remember?
This is 315, so 694.
Really fucking smooth, super super smooth. Let me try to find your third squat. This one, and how much did you guys jump from second to third?
10 kilos, so this is 716, 325.
Was that how much more do you think you had on that?
Honestly, I feel like I can grind a squat pretty good, so I'd say at least 5, maybe like 7.5 to 10. Squats
Yeah,
were feeling
yeah. The
on
reason
point.
the reason why I ask is because when I'm looking at your second, just like looking at the slowest point, I probably would have gone. I feel like for your strength and your size, at least 12, like 12 probably. So, I know Big Body didn't want to be like overly aggressive, and thankfully you guys
Yeah,
didn't
and
have to. But it
I
was it
told
was
I
really
told
good.
Big Body I told Big Body I'm cool with like saving 2.5 to 5 in the tank if it
Yeah.
means my knee stays healthy. I wasn't really having pain with my knee, but I just didn't want to risk anything.
I mean, that was great. I mean, you already knew, like, like once you hit that sticking point, you're like, oh yeah, I'm about to get this. So that's always a
Yeah.
great feeling. Um, it's good to know that more is there, and I'm sure Mikey is like, Mikey, were you happy with that third? Is that where you kind of wanted him, or were you guys on the safe side?
Yeah, I think in the plan we had the top end at 327, so
So
2 keys more than this,
oh yeah, no problem.
which I would have been happy with either one. I wasn't mad that they made this call because me and Devin had already talked before the meet. One about the knee, and then also just about we know this is going to be a really close battle, and we want to have just a little bit of juice for when we get to deadlift. So who knows if we go up 5 keys here, it's a grinder,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah,
get to that third deadlift and you don't got it. You know what I mean? So we were kind of just playing a little bit safe there.
yeah. And then Dev, is this your opener?
I would
Yes, that's
Looks
fucking
like they
easy.
all kind of move the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's that. We'll talk about that. So how much is this for those watching?
This is 240 kilos, 530 pounds roughly.
Yeah, so 530-pound opener bench. I remember watching your benches, and I'm literally texting Chris like, "Fucking load this shit up." Like, what are we doing? I think you guys went how much to your second?
We jumped 7.5 because I
Yeah.
felt a bit of a lat cramp.
Okay. Yeah, I was like 10 easy, don't even think about it, but then again, that's where he's there with you. You can communicate with him and you can explain like, "Hey, I'm feeling this. Whatever you're thinking, let's knock it down a notch." So that's why, what we are looking at on the outside, it could be very different from what's actually like going on in the lifter's head. And then third attempt here. Look how they made you hold it for quite a bit. And really quickly for people watching, the head ref has to look at the left and the right, right? They have to look at those referees and they need to wait for them to lower their hands. And there's like a million spotters here. So if the spotters are in the way, the judges kind of like they're going to have to move around a little bit. They're going to have to fidget more to see that everything is ready to go before they lower their arm, which is going to allow Dev to get the command. And I mean, it's probably only a couple seconds. You do self handouts, right?
Yeah.
So let me see. So you're here. Let's count from unrack one, unrack 6, 7, 8. So like 2 or 3 seconds. Pause was fine. That was pretty good. I would say you probably had I would say 5 to 7 on that. I think you guys went 5. Or is this a third?
Uh,
It is a third. That's
it's the
fucking.
third. Yeah.
I mean, you had another 5. You had another 5. Like for sure.
So we were just securing the chip with this one. It was the American record.
Yeah, yeah. Mikey, is that where you wanted him, or what did you have him at the top?
Yeah, that was our low end for the third.
Yeah.
Obviously, because of the smaller jump to the second, it kind of put us in a spot to jump here, which is fine. The high end or the upper end was 260, which obviously I think would have win as well. But I mean, I'm fine with this.
Um, I don't know what the IPF world record bench is for the 120s. I could try to look.
I think it's 263 with Dennis Cornelius.
And this is what 255.5?
Yeah.
Is it? You can you can literally like control your record. Like you own, like with Keiko, we have taken a record like every meet forever, just chipping our own record. And you're kind of in that situation. Like you're kind of strong enough to where, you could dictate your own narrative, and you're very, very, very close to, blasting it at the next level. Hold on, let me make sure I'm on the right thing. Okay, now going into deadlift, this is where things are spicy. So which one's the opener? This one? This one?
Uh, Other one.
This one? Okay.
It's my opener.
How much is this?
This is 340 kilograms,
750?
750 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, really, really fast. I mean, no problems there. You pull conventional, hook grip, you're gonna be super even, and it's just pretty damn reliable as long as grip is good to go. Um, I believe coming into this situation, I don't know, you weren't the biggest deadlifter, but you had a good cushion, and deadlifts is kind of where the big deadlifter kind of hits his opener, then everything evens out, and then you guys are sort of like playing for placement. Um, so 750 moved great. And usually I say, hit your first 8 lifts, and then after that you can start looking at like what you need to do till the end. I believe this is your second attempt here.
Yep. I
Uh,
jumped 20 kilograms to 360.
and I mean moved great. And at this point, do you happen to remember the situation at this point in terms of like how far were you behind? I know that Jared, I believe, missed his second attempt.
Yeah, I can explain this.
Yeah,
So, like you said, I didn't care about anything until I was 8 for 8.
yeah.
We realized Jared missed his third bench, and I had bodyweight advantage on him. So after this pull, Jared came out, I think, like 1 or 2 after me and matched. He had 370 loaded. And as we were back talking about our third, Jared's on the TV right in front of us, and we saw that he missed. So that's when we started playing games to see what we needed to pull for the one. I think
And
we were 17 and a half kilos behind him.
I did want to bring some. Well, that's the thing. If somebody misses a lift, I mean, you're done for, right? And you got to kind of play, even if, even if you have like a big puller or something like that, and you're kind of behind. You just got to assume like, all right, I have to assume he's gonna miss his third. In this case, it was his second. And we had a similar situation happen at Worlds with Bonica where, I knew she was a big deadlifter, and I was like, all right, like she's gonna hit what she's gonna hit. We have to hope she misses one, but she didn't get her opener. And I mean, she was getting it, but it wasn't passing. And that just opens the door for you. And that's why, I mean, coming into this meet, you were probably like, all right, I know I have a challenge. I'm just gonna lift clean. That's why it's so important to lift clean, because you don't know what's going to happen on the day. A lot of lifters, they want to believe that they can achieve something that they maybe can't. And if they're not honest with themselves, then on meet day, shit is going to happen. I mean, you never know. They might strain themselves on opening squat. Anything can happen. The door can open up. Look what happened with Taylor at Worlds, right? I was kind of in a similar situation with you where we were just like we might have a chance, but we're just gonna try to hit our lifts. And then I knew Carl was the biggest puller. Well, fuck it, we'll load it up after and send it. And then sometimes the gods give you what you want. Um, Mikey, when you're looking at his pulls, are you like, all right, he's on today. He's basically like right where everything's good to go, and we just gotta hope that some things kind of go our way, or what were you thinking at this point?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I was thinking. I saw the opener in the second, and I was like, okay. I thought maybe even he could go 12 to that third. I'm glad he made that call to Chris that he thought he only had 10, because that's pretty much with the little misgroove there. That's pretty much all he had. If there was another 2 keys on there, that probably the bar goes down. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was pretty much just like, we're in that position to pull. Just see what happens after that. See if Jared misses. See if Bam misses.
I think, Devin, if you stand like 2 or 3 inches, I don't know if you see my mouse, like right here, this
Yeah.
is sloping backwards, and maybe your pressure is a little bit more behind the knuckle of your big toe as opposed to on the toes a little bit, and you possibly have that 12. I mean, the next time you compete, if I'm there and Mikey's there, I'll definitely say it because it just looks like you lock your knees a little soon. For those of you that didn't watch nationals, basically what happened was it was 2-1. So he didn't get the lift 2-1, and then you could hear the commentator saying it didn't go down, it didn't go down. I'm fucking texting Chris and Isaac, go to the table, go to the table. Fuck that. Like, no, like it look clean, whatever. And then they ended up turning it over and giving it to Devin, which really quickly before this, I think Chris had him 372.5. And he actually told me there was a coach in the back that was like, "Why are you doing that? Why don't you bluff more?" And I think what's smart about doing that is that you make Jared actually think, um, you make other lifters think that like I don't know the situation with the lot numbers, who had to go first, you or him? Do you remember?
It was I had to go first if I matched Jarrett's weight.
Okay, so well he already missed his, so you guys did the right thing. You're just gonna hit something that would force him to hit something, and he obviously couldn't do it, so that's how you got the win. But when you bluff something, that's believable, right? Um, you force them out. I mean, you force them to think like, okay, like because I think they did go up. I think they did go up to match whatever yours was, and then when you changed
Yes,
it
they
down,
did.
they changed it. You know what I mean? And you just want to keep them on their toes. Like, yeah, it's like you just gotta pay attention. You could just change it back down. But you just want to make them do it anyway. Like make it harder for them. You got to do. Maybe they're not paying attention. Maybe their coach is not there. Maybe I don't know. And then they forget, and then they're stuck. Um, granted, you guys could have put on like 375 and then or 380 whatever, and then at the last minute change it. Is the exact same thing. But when you bluff something that's like somewhat believable, you might kind of make somebody have to do something that maybe they can't, but then you're gonna have to lift that weight if you can't lower it in time. So right here 370, and the last deadlifts is where like it's tricky, but it's not too tricky as long as your math is correct and you understand the order that people have to go. Um, I always tell people like I had a guy who's coaching someone in like Australia, and he was like asking me for advice because he's nervous, and I said, look, at the end of the day, if your lifter pulls his last deadlift and you put it in at the right time and you max him out, then all that other shit, all the math, all that, I mean, it's gonna take care of itself because what more could you have done? What more? You can't ask your lifter to lift more than they can, So that is in a way, it's almost like the great equalizer is it's gonna kind of clean things up. So you ended up pulling 370 here. Um, we had the drama or whatever. The judges ended up giving that to you, and then I believe Jared had to. What did he have to do? He had to take the same weight that he missed, and he missed it again. Correct?
So all he had to do to beat me was take the weight that he missed. But because Chris bluffed, Jared changed to match the bluff and then couldn't get the change back in time. So he went up 2.5 kilos that he didn't need to do.
Do you happen to know what the weight was?
He went to 372.5.
Oh my God. So that is exactly why you do that. That is exactly why you do that, because they could have after you hit your 370, Mikey, tell me if I'm wrong. Literally, if the lot numbers are correct, immediately after you hit your 370, he could just give him the paper and just change it back
Go back
down.
down.
Exact
Yeah.
like, but he's got to do it like right after. Um, Granted, like they were probably waiting on like the jury or whatever. And I mean, if that's true and the lot numbers, would have allowed them to change it back down and they didn't, I mean that's a mistake, right? Um, Granted, I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe they're thinking about Bam. Bam was coming up after you. I believe his name is Brandon Dudley, right?
Yep.
Is that correct? And he pulled like 1 billion pounds, and it was like fast, but then like weird at the top. Um, Maybe at this point the platform is like getting beat to shit and everybody's just like kind of messed up, but he ended up not getting it, and then that gives you the win. And honestly, that was a great. I was really happy we could see Chris and Isaac here. Seeing that it was a good battle, it was a good, respect to your competitors. Um, and I mean, I'm really happy that you were able to secure it and just bring it home. And I'm sure Mikey was like super happy. And like I said, like you've been with us for a long time, and to see it through and to get the job done, um, I mean, it's amazing, man. I think you out totaled. What did you total? 950 something?
950.5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the world record or the world's winning total, I believe, was 940. I'm not really sure if I believe.
It's Tony Cliff won Worlds this year from Great Britain. He totaled 952.5, so
Okay.
two kilograms higher than what I got.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you're right there, man. You're right there, and I don't know if your nutrition is like super duper dialed or if you're just chilling. But that is, I mean, that could be another X factor as well. There's so many good things from this meet. Um, so yeah, that's Dev's meet. I'm proud of you guys. I mean, Mikey, is there anything interesting that you want to share? Anything about this performance or you know working with Dev in general that you want to share?
Uh, yeah, there's one thing that I feel like I did different this meet. It wasn't anything with programming. I don't know if Dev even noticed this or if it even if he yeah, I don't know if he noticed it at all. But in past meets, I feel like maybe I tried to hype him up too much going into meets. So
Hmm.
like I think at one of the Arnolds, I was like, hey, this is your meet, like this is your time. Like I was just gassing him up, right? And this meet, I really tried to like not do that. I was like, he was like, hey, we're just going for the pro card. Like, we just need to get top three. And I was like, yeah, that's it. In my head, I'm like, he can get first. Like in my head, I'm already thinking like, nah, he can win this shit.
I
But
remember
I'm just like not.
I talked to you about this.
I'm
We
just
were
not telling
Yeah.
him. I'm just like not telling him. I'm like, let me just go, let him go into it, like relax. And then like he said, like we get to that third deadlift, and he sees like, oh, I can actually win this. But at that point, like the pressure's off, right? Like you're in a battle now. Like it's
I
not
mean, it's the
really.
last. I mean, there's a lot of pressure actually at the last deadlift. But I mean, let me tell you, as a coach, the most helpless I ever feel, I feel so vulnerable. I'm just fucking I hate it. Is when you call the third deadlift, you know it's the right number, and there's nothing left for me to do but scream and yell at you. I can't do anything. That's it. I don't need to do math.
Yeah.
There's no difference. Like all I could do is give you my energy and hope that it's enough to get the job done. And you did it, man. I mean, it's like when like okay, also when Russ was going to first third squat and he was about to bomb out. A third squat, like when you miss the first two, is like, hey man, we either get this, any lift where you're gonna bomb out. It's like you either get it or you're done. You know what I mean? And it sucks because it's sort of a helpless feeling. You've already done all the work. You've already made it here. And there are some factors that are not in your control. And I think this was a great example of if you lift clean and you hit your first eight, don't even fucking worry about anybody else till the end. And then you can go for the win, hit a good position, and you'll be good to go. So, and honestly, I think we'll get to a point where coaches don't make any mistakes, where the number's always right. I mean, I think that, but you always see it. It always comes up. Sometimes you'll have two coaches that aren't on the same page and they kind of sabotage the lifter unknowingly. Like I've seen it all, and I'm just really happy that you guys are able to like secure it and lock it in. As far as the future goes, I think Dev, you can compete at the highest levels, like wherever you go. Um, I mean, I pretty much know the answer, but for those listening, do you have an idea? Like right now, if you had to choose between like competing at the world level, IPF or USAPL, like what percentage would you say you're one versus the other?
I'd say I'm leaning probably like 60-40 towards IPF.
Okay, yeah. I mean, honestly, and Mikey, I don't know. I don't think Mikey experienced this because Mikey left before all of it happened. But I'll never forget, like when Russ won nationals last year, I was just like, that's it. Like there's nothing more to go for, and it was just kind of like a weird feeling. because it was right after the split. And I think when you're at this level, if you're top 3, even if you're top 5, I mean, I think you have to look back on your life. I mean, anybody could do whatever they want, you know. But for me personally, I would want to look back and be like, I took it as far as I could. And I think if you're healthy and you're strong and you're getting better, why not see if you could total 960, 970, 980? You know what I mean? Like, why not? Like, it's not that much more. You're almost there. And I believe in you, man. We believe in you, and I know Mikey thinks you can do it. And I think, the key to this game, which you guys have known now, putting in the years, is stay healthy, stay consistent, and just keep building. And for the youngins listening, you got to put the years in, right? Once you put the years in, then you can start getting to that level where, okay, I'm starting to get to my potential. I'm starting to realize how great I can actually be. And when you think about it, how many other people on in the sport are going to give it the time that you have given it? You're going to beat those people just by fucking working. You know what I'm saying? Like, just by putting in the effort, putting in the time. So, you know, I think also for your build, you're very solid. You're not like super like overweight to where like, okay, yeah, we got to cut like a bunch of weight. You look very sturdy, um, and that's always a good thing. And I think for your frame, what are you, 6'1",
Yeah, like 6'2".
6'2"? Yeah, for your frame, I mean, shit, man, there's like a lot of size that you could still put on. So anyway, that's it, guys, for Big Dev. I will link him when I post the video. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything else. Yeah, congratulations, guys. I'm really proud of you both. Um, Dev, is there anything that you wanted to leave? Oh, really quickly, I just wanted to give Rondell his flowers. Rondell was competing in the same weight class, but because he, I believe, is not from this country, he has to be a guest. So technically, he wasn't allowed to like officially compete for it. Um, but obviously Rondell is like a very very strong lifter. He's like one of the best in the class. He's up there with Jesus in my opinion. Um, and honestly, I don't know what his situation is going to be. But you want to capitalize on it while you can. If a door opens up, I did the same thing with Delaney. I said, look, if Russ is gonna stay, the door's wide open for you. Go get it and look at what we were able to accomplish. So we might be in a similar situation, and I think you know I think it's definitely worth. I mean, just the idea of you competing against Tony, that's fucking fire. That'd be lit. That'd be amazing. I would love to see that. So. Um, And me and Mikey, we've been around the world. We've been at these big meets. We know what it's like to compete internationally and see those crowds. And the thought of you guys being able to experience that, a new face, being able to experience that. I mean, to me, that's so important. And I think for you to have that opportunity, um, I think it's worth pursuing. But anyway, I know I did a lot of talking on this one. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end. If you made it to the end, let me know in the comments down below, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.